And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, May the 11th, 2019. It is Season 13, Episode 18. I'm Scott.
I'm RJ.
And I'm Matt.
And before we get going...
Clickety-clack.
That is right.
Because we forgot last time.
Did you?
I didn't forget. I just came later than normal.
Forgot to do it at the proper time.
Well, not really a proper time. I just like to get it...
Before the show.
I get it in before we start doing our discussion.
Before we end the show.
I really like to try and do
you
it before we do the first break. Because if it goes over into the next one, I can't line up the audio very well. So, excuse me. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. If you would like to get in touch with us, our phone number is 334-272-9228, 334-272-9228. Oh, my neck is really bothering me. Check out InGameChat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can find us on Facebook as well. You can email us, everyone, at InGameChat.net. We are streaming right now on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv, where you can watch the show. And you can find us there, as well as join us live in the chat room while we broadcast the show to talk about whatever they're talking about. Random's talking about... he's on a phone. He's watching on a phone. And the autocorrect is messing him up. So, who is in the chat room? Let's say hello to everyone there.
Oh, Chromecast to his TV.
Interesting. We've got AC Wraith.
Howdy.
Bios 1.
Howdy.
Duke Frucom.
Hey, Duke.
Howdy, buddy. Glad to see you there. Number one groupie, Random Man X, Steven Van Dam, and Tactus59.
I'm going to say number one groupie is for me. Just because I've always wanted to have a groupie.
You've wanted to have a groupie?
Yeah, who doesn't?
All right.
Right?
I suppose.
Like, who doesn't want a stalker? I'm sure plenty of people.
Probably a lot of people. People who have stalkers really would like to not have a stalker right now.
I've just never been that important.
Is my guess. But welcome to the show. All right. So, my neck hurts. I have a headache, and my air conditioner at the house is still broken.
Ooh,
so
that's
you weren't here last
bad
week.
Combination.
Yeah, you weren't here last week.
Has it been broken this whole week?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the wrong time of year to start that.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, you missed out on the May the 4th stuff.
I didn't miss out on it. The rain caused a delay, and they said
I remember.
They said they didn't need us to do our little stuff that we do, so I didn't have to go.
Yeah, that was a long night.
I bet it was. They didn't start until 7:45.
Yep.
And I was expecting to have to book it over from here to there to get there on time, but
No, with the rain delay, and we had been suited up since 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. You were in costume on standby during that whole time, weren't you?
Yeah. So with the heat, humidity, and it was good times.
Mm. So
sorry to hear about your air conditioning.
Yeah, it sucks. Let me tell
I
you.
bet.
Let me tell you. Let's look at let's take a gander at the board and see where we're currently sitting on the temperature inside the house right now.
Oh.
Let's look at the thermostats.
What, are we taking a bet? I'm thinking 80 something, like 82.
Take your over and under. Yeah.
No, so far I've hit 80 and 81.
Okay.
But I haven't really gone much further than that. That's been during the week.
Okay.
Because I leave the house so early in the morning. So yeah. Currently, the inside humidity of the house is at 59 degrees, or 59%. The inside temperature inside the house is currently 77 degrees. It sucks so much. Oh, gosh, it's bad. So, anyway.
You should fix that.
If you want to loan me the money, I would love that. Quite a lot. Hey, Drunk Degenerate showed up.
Hey, Dee.
So, welcome to the show.
Yes.
I haven't played much because the situation is just miserable back there.
Yeah, you get computers or consoles going and everything with the TV. That could heat up things pretty quickly.
Yeah. I do have a fan in the bedroom now. So, the bedrooms, if you've listened to this show, and if you've listened to any of the other shows, the bedroom is my place. I got the TV hooked up. I got my video game consoles hooked up. I'm good to go. I got everything right there. There's a bathroom in the bedroom, too. So it's like I don't have to leave the room at all. So if I can keep that room cool,
Living the dream.
then I'm good.
Yeah.
I need it to sleep because sleeping is very, very... I can't sleep in hot weather. It's horrible.
No.
It's horrible. So I have to keep so if I can keep that room cool, which means all the other houses other the room in the house, all the other rooms there's nothing I can do about those, and so they just sort of stew. And so it's very, very hot back in the computer room, which is where I've decided to play my Destiny games. But yeah, I do, I can do everything else in the bedroom there, and it's fine. So I focus on keeping that one room cool. And that's what I try to do. So I really haven't had to have time to play much, only for the fact that it's been kind of comfortable. However, I wasn't planning on doing much playing until stupid Destiny dropped a brand new gun and a brand new quest out of nowhere for this thing.
And now you got to.
And I did. I played that thing Tuesday and Wednesday, doing the regular version so I could get the gun.
What kind of gun is it?
It is a pulse rifle.
Ooh, I like pulse rifles. I know you're more of a scout.
I hate pulse rifles. I like a scout rifle more than anything else.
Pulses are actually really good in the game now. Scouts they've kind of toned down a little bit, but pulses are really, really nice. That blast furnace gun from the Forge, the Black Armory Forge.
No, but I just like picking off enemies from clear across the screen. I got basically a rapid fire sniper, basically.
Well, this pulse rifle, I don't know. You didn't play through on year 3, did you, Matt?
No.
From Destiny 1.
Wait, huh?
Destiny 1, you didn't play through year 3, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Rise of Iron?
Yeah. Come back to me one time.
All right. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a minute. He's answering the phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I really like to, because he's not going to remember the gun, I don't think.
Is it similar to something we've seen earlier?
It's a year 1 gun that is brought back.
Okay. Are they running out of ideas on new weaponry to come out with?
Ain't that a great question? They shouldn't have to be running out of ideas, but it seems that it's easier for them to pull from year 1 and just reskin than it is to do much else, come up with something different. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know how long Matt's going to be on the phone. We'll come back to the Destiny talk later.
Yeah.
It's whatever it is, but we'll talk to RJ. Tell us what you've been playing.
More grinding in Mortal Kombat 11. I've been going through the Towers of Time and the Crypt, unlocking stuff left and right. Unfortunately, I got to finally unlock all I could from the towers with Johnny Cage, the character I was trying to build up.
Yeah.
Because you can get character-specific towers throughout the Towers of Time and do that. What I did was unlock Tower 5, and I got through that, but the requirements for it was... that's why it took me a whole week to get through there. First, to get to Tower 2, I think it's 5 towers total, but to get to unlock Tower 2, you have to fill a certain requirement. And in this case, I had to get 75 total wins with Cage. So I had to go through 75 wins with that. To get to Tower 3, I had to have 25 fatalities. The one after that, I had to get 25 brutalities. The one after that, I had to get 25 final blows. So no worries, because in getting the 75 wins to unlock the second tower, I was able to get all the requirements for the other towers.
Talk about me grinding in Destiny. Good Lord.
Yeah. So I got all that, got through it all, got all the rewards I could. And then I had the option of getting another tower opened up, and I really didn't have the desire to do so. So I was just going to go through the other towers and get all the stuff that I can that way. And eventually, when I get everything I wanted there, I'll probably do some practice and some more online play. Yeah. So other than that, just a little bit of fighters here and there, a little bit of Street Fighter 5, and a little bit of Grand Theft Auto. They had a new update and some
for the online portion.
So I played a little bit of that and left it alone after that.
How does MK11 compare to the remake in 10 or X?
The combo, it's not as easy to string these long, ridiculous combos that you see on tournaments and whatnot. They took out the run option. Okay. So you can't string a combo from one end of the screen all the way to the other, which I've seen some professionals do with, I believe, Kung Lao and Sonya in MKX. They were able to. I've seen some professional players pull off some really long strings that took their opponents clear across the board, and with that run button, a heavy factor in that. But in MK11, you don't see that. You just have a dash, not a run. Okay. So the combos, they're still punishing. There's still some punishing combos in there, But it's not ones that are just completely take you from advantageous to disadvantageous in a minute. So that's one little difference I've noted. But it's pretty much the same, just missing the run mechanic. But it's fun overall. I'll give it that much.
Cool.
Anything else?
Oh, that's pretty much it.
All right. Matt, what about you?
I went through and I got the season pass for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Was it on sale?
It was on sale.
Okay.
So I went ahead.
What was it on sale for?
I think like 30.
What does it go for regularly?
I think like 40 bucks.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like 20% off, I think, something like that.
So a discount on the season pass.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often, do you?
On occasion.
You do.
Yeah.
For Ubisoft, you really do, yeah.
Oh, Ubisoft, okay.
So I picked that up. I haven't played it yet, but it also it came with Assassin's Creed 3 remaster. So sure, free game, and that way I get the DLC for Blade. The First Blades, I think is what it's called, and Atlantis. So I want to get back into some more Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I ran through Claire A and Leon B hardcore in Resident Evil 2.
Trying to go for the under 2 hour mark?
No.
Okay.
I went ahead and paid the $5.
Okay.
So I got the rocket launcher unlimited and the unlimited Gatling gun and submachine gun. I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to enjoy this game.
Yeah.
And so I did. And it was actually a lot of fun running through with that rocket launcher.
Oh, yeah.
Killing everything inside. I'm like, yeah. So the only thing I really need to do left for that is the, Tofu and Hunk.
Tofu and Hunk in the
the Lost Survivors?
Fourth Survivor. Yeah, Fourth Survivor part. Yeah.
So
I think I've done all the story modes with the other folks. I don't think I've got through completely with the officer in the convenience store. I didn't get through that. The officer at the gas station. I didn't go through with him. I didn't get all the way to the end on that one.
I haven't done any of those other stories.
The other stories, yeah.
So I need to do that. But eventually, I'm just glad that I went through and did both. A and B for both characters.
Yeah, they got the tier. They're tiered for easiest to hardest. So start with the
first one and just go down.
Yeah, start with the
was it the mayor's
daughter? Mayor's daughter.
Yeah,
I think it's the mayor's daughter, and then the gun shop owner Kendo, and then the soldier, the umbrella soldier. Those three. So in that order, it's going to be from easiest to hardest. And then you got the sheriff at the gas station.
Yeah,
at the beginning, who got killed first. So go through his story. That's going to be the hardest one.
Let's see. Played a little bit more Elite Dangerous. Did some more mining today. Got nearly 100 mil in mining. So that was kind of fun, just tooling around with that. Little Red Dead 2. Just haven't played that in a minute. And then Kevin and I have been getting back into Ghost Recon Wildlands because they released that new mission.
Yeah.
With John Bernthal, the guy that plays the Punisher.
John Barenthal?
Barenthal, yeah. So
what's the mission they released?
Operation Oracle.
Oh, okay.
Man, that's the thing.
Because aren't they using him for that next one as well?
Yeah,
okay.
and this is kind of like
just a character introduction.
Character introduction. That's what Kevin and I were talking. We love Ghost Recon Wildlands for that. I mean, it's a 2-year-old game, and they keep on dropping new missions, here and there, new stuff, new, like I got the stealth suit in the optical camouflage. So Kevin and I have that. So that's a lot of fun. And in the mission for Operation Oracle, featuring the new guy, it's sort of like they were hinting at, hey, pay attention. Was it Thursday? This past Thursday. So we're like, ooh, now we know to look for. And that's when they introduced the new Ghost Recon not Wildlands, but Breakpoint. So interesting. I'm gonna, it comes out in October. I don't know about pre-ordering it. If it's like Wildlands, then most likely I'll get it. There are some stuff I am curious about. You don't have, if you play single player, you don't have AI buddies. Because in Wildlands you have 3 other ghosts running around with you. If you team up with someone, like, Kevin and I play, then I will have, like, the buddies, but, like, otherwise you're just by yourself.
Oh, really? I thought you always had...
Not in this Breakpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was telling Random about it, and we were talking, and I said, yeah, I mean, you can play it solo. You'll just be teamed up with 3 other AI partners.
Not in from what I'm hearing from the new one, it's not going to be that way.
And as I understand it, though, if you don't, and this is not the DLC I'm talking about, just regular game mode.
Yeah.
If you can team up with 3 other players.
Yes.
So 4 total, counting yourself. But if you play by yourself, you get 3 AI teammates. If you team up with 1 other person, it's just the 2 of you. You don't get 2 extra AI teammates, do you?
That's how it is in Wildlands.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yes.
In the regular game, that's how it is.
With the new game, you're going to be by yourself if you just play by yourself.
Right, yeah.
So, but yeah, that's why, when Kevin and I do stuff, we are literally doing it the hardest way possible. Mm-hmm. Because if I just played it by myself, I'd have 3 other AIs, assisting and shooting stuff.
Well, you might have 2 others, because I know me and Random both have it, and we're interested in doing it. So
okay,
yeah, we're interested in playing
the new one or
Wildlands. Just Wildlands.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I would go through the entire game again. I would drop down, because right now I'm on tier 1, which is like I've maxed out my character. Because like once you get the highest level, then you start on your tier system. I think it starts level, tier 50, and you work down to 1. Mm-hmm. And so I would turn the tier system off. That way it's not completely impossible for you guys, starting it. So it wouldn't be like Division,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd still be...
Yeah, I'm sitting in Division. I played a lot of Division, by the way. I haven't since the air went out. But the last time, me and Random were playing it, his computer really can't keep it up. That's horrible. His computer really can't keep the game up and running. But I kept playing it because I was enjoying it. I could only play it for a little while because my RAM would start like, hey, you've used a bunch of memory, close some programs. And if I didn't do anything, it just closed the program for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Windows 7.
Yeah.
And I got up to, I think, level 8 or something like that, but it was really hard. Main missions, I could find people to play on my team to play with, but side missions and stuff, I couldn't find anybody willing to do those. There was nobody there doing those. If I wanted to just roam around, do free roam and stuff, plenty of people there to do that with. Main missions, plenty of people to do that with. Side missions, of which there's a lot, hardly anybody ever. And it really annoyed me.
If you and Rando Calrissian want to play Wildlands, I'm sure Kevin and I would be more than happy to, because you haven't done that much in it, have you?
No, not very much at all. I mean, I did play it when it released.
Yeah. But I mean, we're in the beta together. Mm-hmm. But I'd be more than happy to do that entire game over again because I really enjoy it that much. That's just a fun game for me. So I'd go back to that entire thing. I'm sure Kevin just wants to play. So
right now, Random and I are doing this random pop-up mission that started with the reset on Tuesday. Somebody did a heroic, just the regular daily heroic mission, which was on Titan. And there were 2 things that he could scan, that the player could scan in the middle of the mission that weren't there previous. So scanned both of them, and a different door that had never unlocked in the mission unlocked. And you go into that door, and there is there's like a key card, like a transponder is what it's called. You pick up that transponder, and somehow they figured out that then you needed to go and find 6 different nodes that are scattered around different places. Nessus and Earth, I think, are the 2 different places. And most of them are in lost sectors. But you go and you scan. You don't have to beat the lost sector, and you don't even have to beat that mission that you find the transponder in. You don't have to beat it. Once you get that, you can get out. But you scan the nodes, and once you finish scanning the nodes, they found that there was a new mission waiting for you at the farm, of all places.
At the farm?
Yeah.
They need to give you a reason to go there.
And
I guess.
Well, I mean, you used it at the beginning of the game, but you
but
never...
after that, you've been there.
Exactly. So there's a mission in the farm. You go there. You go under the storm shelter that's near the farmhouse, where your ship is being whatever. There's a ship there. There's a storm shelter there. If you go under that, you talk to an NPC, and he gives you the mission. And it's called 0 Hour. And we have music from 0 Hour in today's show. It is a 20-minute timed mission, and you really have to kill everything.
Really?
You have to kill everything, yeah. A lot of the sections are blocked off by barriers, so you can't move until you kill everything in the area. So
and you have to do that all within 20 minutes.
You have to do everything within 20 minutes. It can be done, and it can be done multiple times. It's not... Once you know... The problem was that he and I, Random and I, kept going through it because we weren't sure which way to go. There were sections, and it takes you into the old tower. The other side of the tower. In fact, it takes you where you start the game in the beginning of Destiny 2. You're out there on this ledge, and it's all burned up and everything else. Well, the fire's gone since then, but it's all still crumbled.
Yeah. And
so you go beyond that point into the ship's hangar or into the tower hangar, and you fight stuff there, and then you go... You use a lot of vent pathways to move around in, and that's where some of the maze-like structure can come from. We found a room that we couldn't figure out a way to get out of. It had six doors, and we couldn't figure out which door to go in. We finally found that, but we had wasted enough time that it's like, okay, we got to start over. But then when we started over, we could get further along because we knew which way to go up until that point. And then we got into a room that had this robot that scans the hallways. It's just constantly moving through the hallways. And if it sees you, it turns red and comes straight for you. There are little crouch spaces you can hide in if he does see you. But we had to figure out what to do there, which you have to flip 4 switches that open the exit. Once you do that, you go through the exit. There's a bunch of fan blades you have to drop down through. After you do that, I think there's some more stuff, but I could be confused because the heroic version of the mission takes you a completely different way through the thing. So you got to get through. It's a lot to get through, and then you come to the final boss, and there's 2 of those giant servitors, the big round balls. Yeah. There's 2 of those at either end of the map. You got to kill those. There's the boss himself who's spawning around. I mean, you can waste the boss if you want to, but you've still got to kill everything else.
Yellow bar.
Yeah. Then 2 tanks spawn, and you got to kill those. And once you wipe out the room, you get the gun. So, and the gun comes from the Rise of Iron stuff from Season 3.
Okay. Yeah, I did play Season 3.
Or Year 3 of Destiny 1.
Yeah, I played that.
All the Siva stuff. The gun you got from that was a pulse rifle called Outbreak Prime. And it was an exotic. Like when you would do precision shots, these... they were called nanites, but they were these little flying little things would do extra damage. So they do the same thing now. This is the name of this gun is Outbreak Perfected, I think.
So is it like the Dragonfly perk on a sniper rifle?
Not necessarily. Like the heads don't, it doesn't do an explosion type of thing.
Okay.
But if you get a precision shot, not necessarily precision kill, precision shot, the nanites spawn and help you kill that enemy. But they're there for a good while, so they'll move to another enemy if they're nearby.
Oh, that's per shot.
Oh, yeah.
Precision. So it's a pulse rifle, so 3 precision shots, and you got 3 times as much.
I think it's only 1 per of that. Like when they spawn, they don't spawn again until they're gone.
No.
In other words. So, but because they don't last long and you can do precision shots pretty easily, they're constantly there. And if you get a team running with 3 other people doing it, there's tons of those things floating around. So, and then that unlocks the heroic mission, which you can do anytime you want to. You do the heroic mission, and you go through, and that'll give you the catalyst for the gun that will improve it once you finish the catalyst. You have to finish the catalyst. This gets longer. A lot like the sniper rifle, the Whisper of the Worm did, where you had to do it once when there was the void burn, once when it was solar burn, and then once when it was arc burn. and that changes week to week. Right now it's void. So next week we'll do it again, and we'll do it on solar, and then the next week we'll do it again, and we'll do it arc, and we'll have finished off those. But then there's another aspect to it. Once you've beaten it on heroic, you can go back in and find a key card that is sitting in one of the spaces of the level. This key card is only activated with you while you're in the mission. In other words, if you go to orbit, if you run out of time, it is removed from your inventory.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
You have to go try it again. Because once you get this key card, once you get this thing, I can't remember what it's called, you have to find 3 other key cards in the mission. Those are easy to find, not a problem. But then you have to do this unbelievable puzzle that is convoluted to no end.
Now, you do witness and all that type of stuff. How bad is this puzzle?
It's bad, but luckily the community of Destiny players have created websites that have algorithms already tied in. So if you just press in the number of what you see, it gives you the outcome immediately. So, in other words, there's 3 different stations that give out 3 different coded numbers. You say, here's what Station 1 gave me, here's what Station 3 gave me, here's what Station 2 gave me. Once you do that, the algorithm will tell you, okay, go inside these rooms that are next to these stations and lock a certain console. Each room has 7 consoles inside of it. So this thing will tell you to lock console 5, lock console 7, lock console 6, whatever it's telling you to do. It'll tell you to do that. Once you do 1 round of that, that counts as 1. And you'll get 15 seconds added to the clock. Then you got to do it again. And you have to do it a total of 49 times.
Tedious.
Very, very tedious. You do get extra time, so we're trying to do that because next week you'll have to do it again for solar, and next week or the week after you'll have to do it again for arc.
So another 49, another 49, another 49. Wow.
You'll get a ship drop from this, and you'll also speed up the catalyst for the gun itself. It's a lot. It is a lot. So, anyway, that's all the Destiny I'm going to talk about today, with the exception of the fact that we have some music coming up later on from the mission.
Yay, music.
So, in fact, we're going to take a break now. We've got music from a game called Battle Brothers. I'm not exactly sure how to describe what this game is.
Is it like Battletoads?
No, it's not. Not anything like that. It's more medieval, maybe Viking-ish.
Okay.
And sort of top-down strategy type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Are you looking at it right now, RJ?
Seems like a turn-based tactical RPG type
Yeah,
thing.
something like that. Yeah. They had an expansion release.
Pretty high ratings, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had an expansion release, I think, this week, which is why I'm using this music. It's called the Stronghold theme, and we'll be right back with more in-game chat right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music here from a game called Hypnospace Outlaw. Sleep Time Computing is the name of the track. Not sure where I saw this, but I go through looking my Steam activity, and somebody that either bought this, was playing this, got an achievement from it.
Was thinking about it? I don't know.
Exactly. And that's how I find things. So you might see a game on here. You might hear a game that you were playing yesterday. That's how it works. Anyway, welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Scott, along with RJ and Matt, and we are not talking about Destiny. We are talking about... What else can we talk about? There's a lot going on. Let's see. Riot Games had a big walkout.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Riot Games, they do League of Legends, I think. Is that who they do? Yes, League of Legends. 150 employees walked out of League of Legends publishers' offices in Los Angeles on Monday to protest the company's stance on forced arbitration. We're asking that forced arbitration be ended for all past, current, and future Riot employees, including contractors and in current litigation. Standing in front of a sign reading Rioters Unplugged, a play on Riot's Eternal Riot Unplugged meetings, later told the assembled colleagues through a megaphone, asking to feel safe does not make you entitled. She had one major point. She hoped to get across to her colleagues, even those who chose to stay in their desks and continue working. We are what makes Riot great. I want us to feel solidarity and connection with each other. I want us to feel connected. I want us to feel like our voices are heard and heard in the way that matters. One of the colleagues said I was worried. I was like, what if I go and nobody shows up? I'm a little less worried about that now since 149 other people joined me. Others are showing up with their Riot walkout hashtags on Twitter and that sort of thing. It's the first labor-related walkout for a large game studio like Riot. The management is allowing its employees to participate and has urged managers to be accommodating and understanding. In an email, Riot representative added, "We respect rioters who chose to walk out today and will not tolerate retaliation of any kind as a result of participating or not." Trying to see if there was any sort of... These are signs. Here's an update. Toward the end of the walkout, Monahan made an announcement saying that if Riot management doesn't make any sort of commitment on forced arbitration by May 16th, the date of the next meeting, she and others involved with the walkout will take further action. Another organizer was not able to delve into specifics of what that will mean, but told us that we do have plans, and we do have days that we're planning, and we do have commitments that we have responses for. We might face unforeseen consequences despite leadership's own commitments. Because leadership is one entity and there are a lot of rioters throughout the organization, we will prepare for retaliation. I think it wouldn't be smart to not plan for it, but we're not assuming that it'll happen either because leadership said they wouldn't retaliate for this one anyway. We'll continue to ask for confirmation for future demonstrations. So, yeah. No other news on that. We've talked about, we haven't talked about forced arbitration at all, but we have talked about crunch. We have talked about what employees at video game companies have had to go through.
Yeah. I mean, the famous one being Rockstar. And like...
Rockstar was one of them.
Yeah.
I believe Epic took, I think just recently, the Fortnite guys had some crunch stories to tell.
Yeah.
I've heard of it from...
Really, almost every developer.
Yeah, the work on The Last of Us, the first Last of Us, there was a lot of crunch in that one as well. Crunch is horrible, and sadly,
when you're up against a deadline,
crunch is also necessary.
Yeah.
And lately, NetherRealm Studios as well. They got accusations being put against them.
If you don't get
Kombat 11,
if you don't get crunch, then you get stuff like Star Citizen,
where there's no deadline and it
there's
just lingers
no
forever.
Deadline, and it's just been going on 6 years now.
I suppose. Well, no. See, I don't believe that. I think Star Citizen got unbelievably funded.
Yeah, but I remember them saying back in 2013, hey, this will be out soon.
No, I think the option is if you don't have a deadline, you either get something like Star Citizen, or you get something and then name some other game that has folded or failed or or maybe even a company that has just, stopped. And I can't name something that's under a bigger umbrella. I don't want to look at Visceral Games and say, that's what happens when you don't have a deadline. I don't think that's the case at all when you're under a company like EA. But there's probably another company somewhere that had to go under because they couldn't finish the game that they were going to make. Maybe THQ is one of those. I don't know. But I'm sure they also had a deadline of some sort. So,
yeah.
I mean, crunch is always going to happen, but maybe it doesn't have to happen like that. Maybe you have enough employees where you can do the split shifts and that keep that off and keep it from burning out your employees or something. I don't know. There's been arguments for a union for a long time for developers.
And, I mean, that's one of the things I've studied in my, my military academy stuff is, about stressors and the effect it has on personnel. And after a while, I mean, a little bit of stress is understandable if not necessary, but like continued stress like that for 6 months, that's almost,
constant stress.
Yeah, that's excessive, and that can break you.
Yeah, Fubel plays it. If I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong, I'm butchering it. That's what I'm known for. Says, I'm sorry, but I have crunch at work at the end of the month every single month. And that's possible that you do have that. These guys have it months on end. They go through crunch like that with especially the closer you get to that deadline, the more you have to do that crunch. And it's not necessarily towards the end of the month, but it's constant.
So do you think that's because they set a definite, here's a deadline, this is what we're releasing out to the public of when this game will be, right? As opposed to some companies are like, it's done when it's done. Blizzard's famous for saying that.
Yeah, it's done when it's done.
It's done when it's done. And if you don't have such a firm,
and then we got
stone deadline,
then we got Diablo on our phones.
Yeah, but I haven't heard. I
don't think that's because of. Yeah, that's not because.
I haven't heard. I haven't heard the Blizzard people, complaining about that kind of crunch deadlines, or because I don't know, maybe it's because they don't have their release date set in stone. They're more fluid, and it's. I mean, you definitely have to have goals and milestones to hit, or else your game will never come out because there's always going to be trying to perfect it into obscurity in a way, or there's always something you can tweak. Eventually, you're just gonna have to release.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe there's
another thing that we've been going through a lot lately. The release, you have to release, and if it's messed up, we'll fix it later. We can just patch it. Because when's the last time you installed a game and didn't have a patch on day one?
But I mean that I think maybe hurts more the customers. Because hey, I got this game, I want to get home and play. Oh, I have to have a 36 gig download first before I could even play the game.
Okay, I want to go back to the Riot situation because we're getting into crunch, and that's
Let's
not
Riot.
Well, that's not what they're walking out about. They're walking out about the forced arbitration, and so I'm going back to this just to clear that up. Sure. 5 current and former Riot Games employees have filed lawsuits against Riot Games, alleging, among other things, that Riot violated the California Equal Pay Act.
Okay.
The lawsuits referenced, in which dozens of current and former employees reported a culture of widespread and epidemic sexism at the company,
that's not good.
Manifesting in Riot's hiring practices, promotion strategies, and wider culture. In late April, Riot filed a motion to block 2 of those lawsuits filed by current employees from being brought in front of a jury. Riot's lawyer contends that these employees signed arbitration agreements which waive their rights to a jury trial against the company. And that's where the walkout has come from. So it's not necessarily for them. It's not necessarily about crunch at all. Riot is kind of ongoing. I say Riot. League of Legends is sort of an ongoing game. And games like that, I guess Fortnite is one where they talked about having crunch. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's also bad as well. It's just kind of on top of that, here's the other stuff. So, here's the thing. Big gaming companies, it's not that great to work for. Small indie companies, while you look at it and see them struggling to pay the bill month to month, they're also kind of living by their own rules. They're doing their own thing, and they're making their own.
Yeah, they're doing their thing their way. Yeah,
yeah, they're doing it their way. They're not being pushed they're not pushed around anyone. The crunch they may have is on themselves for doing it, and it's a passion for them to do it. And
a lot of those labor of love type things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, for people who do work in the bigger game companies, it was a labor of love to move into that, realm. It's sort of like, oh, I can't wait to work for this company one day. And unfortunately, you find out that that company's great to work for, but they also have
it's also work.
They also have the trappings that every other big company trying to hit a deadline has.
Yeah.
And while this is miles away from where I was making this little indie hit, whatever it might have been, now I have to deal with this. And then that's the other thing. Does that burn your passion out? Does that kill it? Does
that might be a more individualistic answer,
I know it's a tough question.
Because I've had jobs where
I'm sure it can.
Absolutely
It's one of those things, like they always say, find something you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life.
Personally, I call BS on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had jobs where I've done stuff that is my passion. When I was working, graphic design, which is my degree, and stuff that I love doing, that kind of thing. But when your livelihood depends on it, when rent depends on it, when do I have food depends on it, then it's not your passion, it's work. It's
survival.
And so that's why, for the most part, I'm much rather do stuff like that as a hobby, as a personal thing. If I were to make an independent personal game, that would be awesome. But like having your entire survival depend on it, then it's still work. Yeah, I don't know. Some people find joy in that. Some people are in that mentality. I'm not one of them.
Well, I mean, if I look at, and I can only look at the crunch that I was told about through The Last of Us when they were working on that. Neil Druckmann just putting in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to make this thing what it was. And I hate to say, this is what I tell. A lot of times I get people asking me, hey, how did you get into radio?
Yeah.
And if they've got a kid with them who's really interested in this sort of thing, I feel like I'm expected to say, go to school and learn what you've got to, go to school.
Honestly.
Yeah. So it's not. It's like I knew somebody that knew somebody that got my foot in the door.
That's how I got it.
You know,
back in the day.
There's some cases where it's not what you know, it's who you know.
I knew someone who used to came into the game place that I worked at, and we just talked. I hang out at the radio station. Next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, want a job here?" I'm like, "All right."
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you luck into things.
Yeah, I knew a guy that knew a guy, and by the way, thanks Tommy House and thanks Steve King.
But I've seen the hours that you work too, and the the long days you put in.
No, I do put in long days, but it's still I still enjoy it. But the thing is like here's the point I was getting at is that Neil puts in all that time, and here's what I hate to say about it is that the crunch paid off.
Yeah.
Because look at the amount of awards that game got, look at the sales that game got, look what that game did. And that doesn't happen with every single game. Hardly ever does that happen with any game. And so it's rare when you get something like that. It just happened to have happened to them. But sometimes you put in the crunch and it doesn't pay off. It's worse because of it, or it's a bad game or something like that, even though you put in those dedicated hours. So I never really want to say that sometimes that the crunch pays off. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Just like saying, don't go to school. I didn't have to go to school because that sounds kind of bad. Yeah. But
I don't know. Maybe there's a difference between. I mean, obviously, enjoy your job. Because if you're miserable at your job, then that affects you negatively. But there's a difference between enjoying your job and doing what you love and what you're passionate about. I enjoy my jobs that I'm at. I am not 100% like, getting tattoos on my body about my, work for, like, I'm not that level of like, oh my God, I live, eat, and breathe it. I mean, I do sort of internalize a lot of it, and especially, with the military, a lot of, the ethos and, but, at the end of the day, when I take off my, my uniform stuff, I'm just still me.
At the end of the day, when I get naked, I'm
still me. So, like, there's maybe for me there's a difference between enjoying what you do, so you're not miserable, and just being like consumed with your passion. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess we need a little bit of everybody, because sometimes you need those people that are such passionate people about their jobs that they are willing to work, 100 hours a day, so to speak.
Well, regardless of the crunch issue, I hope that the arbitration situation gets handled.
Yeah,
because that sounds
hope it resolves.
Yeah, that just sounds bad. Not just the arbitration, but everything else that they were getting sued for as well. Yeah. It seems like Riot. See, once you go that route and you throw the arbitration, you signed a waiver where you can't sue us.
Yeah.
So we can still be crappy to you now. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's not good at all. So. We got a few more minutes coming up here before we go to a break. Let's talk about good game stuff. Let's talk about things that are going good. We always talk about negatives.
Ghost Recon.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, but it looks interesting.
I was talking about Pokemon Go.
And
that Niantic released the results of their Earth Day 2019 efforts to improve the planet.
Okay.
Across April, players were encouraged to gather together and hold cleanup events, collecting trash and garbage for proper disposal, making the environment a better place, as well as playing Pokemon Go while they're doing it.
I like that. I mean, I don't play the game, but I like that.
Nearly 500 individual events were held across 41 countries. Around 17,000 people came together to bag up waste in their local areas. Between April 13th and April 28th, some 145 tons of rubbish was collected in total. 176 of these events were hosted by charities and non-government organizations. The other 300 were held by communities of players wanting to make a difference both in their local area and to the ecology of the planet at large. And players worked in groups of 1 to 2,500 alongside volunteer organizations, government agencies, and fellow community members, creating an incredible impact. So congratulations to you players of Pokemon Go.
I tip my hat to those people. That is a fantastic story.
Oh, I always love when good stuff comes out of those things. So
again, I don't play. I never have played it. I never downloaded it. It's just not my jams.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that they can come together in a community like that to do a, still get out of the house, still go out and be interactive and clean up, trash. That good on them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to highlight that, since most of the time we focus on people hating Epic Game Store and also the Riot situation, as also some really, really horrible YouTubers.
Look, man.
Oh, just in general.
Look, man. Bad news moves meters, man.
I know.
That's what gets the ratings. Bad news gets you the ratings.
I know.
So occasionally you throw a good one in there to balance it out.
And Detective Pikachu comes out. Or is out.
I think it is out.
Yeah, it is out.
Yeah.
We have got more in-game chat after the break. This is music from the 0 Hour mission from Destiny 2. It's actually the track is actually a lot longer than this, about 15 minutes worth of music. This is just a little 5-minute clip. I tell you, it's good, but Whisper of the Worm still had the better music, to me, of one of these just thrown-in missions that you didn't expect to see coming. So we'll be back with more of in-game chat right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. I'm Scott, along with RJ and Matt. This is music from Slime Rancher.
I like this.
Yeah, Ruins Night, I guess is what it is. The Ruins at Night is what it is. So. Never played it, and was surprised that I had not used any music from it until now. So, welcome back to the show. Earlier this week, and I think there's been more on this, David Eddings didn't have a lot of good things to say about Randy Pitchford. David Eddings was the former vice president of licensing at Gearbox and also the original voice for Claptrap in the Borderlands series.
Thinking he's not going to be voicing him in 3?
He recently revealed turning down an opportunity to voice Claptrap in Borderlands 3 when he learned he won't be offered royalties for past work. He says, I had a lot of mixed feelings when asked to reprise the role of Claptrap late last year and eventually realized I was willing to put differences aside and do something cool for Borderlands fans with my friends at Gearbox. I ultimately offered to do it for free, he puts in quotations, in exchange for past royalties owed, plus an apology for something I've never spoken about publicly until now. The incident, according to Eddings, is Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford assaulted him in 2017. He revealed, Randy physically assaulted me in the lobby of the Marriott Marquis at GDC 2017. He did not elaborate further than that. He did share an unfavorable opinion of his former boss. Personally, I think Randy's been on tilt the last few years. He's not the victim he portrays himself to be. I even blocked him a couple of years ago for stalking me on social media. Enough is enough. It's nice not feeling the need to spot any sleight of hand these days or wonder if the card was chosen or forced. I'm happy to be free from the half-truths and full-on deceptions, and thankful to no longer hear people referred to as muggles like a con man refers to a mark. Eddings started a Twitter thread in response to Pitchford's tweet calling him bitter and disgruntled, noting that fans shouldn't blame the team at Gearbox for the CEO's antics. Gearbox issued a statement saying that they take any and all claims of this nature very seriously, and we will abstain from commenting on the allegations Dave is making because it's a personal matter. We appreciate David's contributions to the franchise and have continued to assert that we would welcome him back into the mix as the voice of Claptrap and other future opportunities. Yeah, so there's that. As an aside, seems a bit conspicuous that he chimed in on my salary, but didn't mention anything about the $12 million of revenue he siphoned away from the employee royalty pool. For your information, Gearbox employees are asked to take lower salaries with the promise of royalty shares. Interesting to kind of get a look into Gearbox.
Yeah.
I think Gearbox as a company is probably fine. I think Randy Pitchford as a CEO, there's some problems. He's had a couple of allegations thrown his way.
Yeah, throughout the years.
And just recently,
yeah,
had some issues thrown his way. There were some issues also with him and I think Troy Baker. Asking him to come back to do a voice or something like that. I can't remember what the whole thing was, but yeah, I know, Fubu. I know exactly what you're talking about. We covered that story way back when it happened.
Yeah.
As best we could without actually talking about it.
Without getting in trouble.
Yeah, he had some USB problems, put it that way.
Yeah.
Somebody found a USB of his, looked on it, and said, oh,
not good.
This is illegal. So yes, there were some issues there, which is why again I lean towards if it's one voice, sometimes even if it's just two voices coming out about things, it's sort of like disgruntled. Sure,
when you
the voices have started to stack up here.
Yeah, it's hard to
not in his favor.
Hard to ignore.
So I'm not saying, but there's something.
Something's going on.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. I wondered how this went. A senator this week introduced a bill to ban loot boxes and pay-to-win microtransactions.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting because you weren't here for this last week, but last week I went on a rant and just kept going about what the future of free-to-play is going to look like.
Yeah, it looked dismal.
It's very dismal. I just figured because we started looking at like where we started from, and we started with horse armor back on the 360.
Yeah.
When we looked at that and thinking nobody's gonna buy that, people did buy it.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, we get extra money from this?"
Yeah. And we kept thinking, we just didn't think it was going to be that way, and it just kept becoming that way more and more and more. Now, none of it was pay to win, but it was just cosmetic stuff. But it just kept coming in there, kept showing up, and so I had this vision of the future where this was going to continue, but continue to get extreme.
All right.
To where you'll start as a character who has absolutely nothing, and you'll have to pay to buy armor, pay to buy weapons, and the armor and the weapons will deteriorate over time unless you spend a little extra money to get the stuff that doesn't. Just nickel and dime here and there everywhere, and really, really just drain you of money. Horribly. And so it's interesting now to read, and this comes from Kotaku, Josh Hawley, what's MO? Is that Missouri?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a senator, a Republican senator from Missouri, today announced a bill that would ban loot boxes and pay-to-win microtransactions in games played by minors. That's an interesting
distinction
caveat.
Yeah.
A broad label that the senator says will include both games designed for kids under 18 and games, in quotation marks here, whose developers knowingly allow minor players to engage in microtransactions. He will introduce the bill titled the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act to the U.S. Senate soon. In press materials announcing the bill, his team brought up the Activision game Candy Crush as an egregious example of pay-to-win microtransactions thanks to its $150 luscious bundle that comes with a whole bunch of goodies. This bill will all likely apply to a host of online games that feature loot boxes and other ways in which players can spend money for real benefits. When a game is designed for kids, game developers shouldn't be allowed to monetize addiction, Hawley said in a press release. And when kids play games designed for adults, they should be walled off from compulsive microtransactions. Game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences. I would agree with that last statement about game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences. But I also feel like there may be a broad description of
games for kids.
Knowingly exploit.
Yeah.
In other words, this is a hard one to. I say this is a hard one because I know that I know at least I use an iPhone, it's whatever. So I know when I go to the Apple Store and I look for games or look at anything kind of app that I want, it tells me it's got in-app purchases. When I go to buy it, or just get it, it's all free. I don't pay for anything on the App Store. When I go to get something off the App Store, it needs facial recognition. Mm-hmm. And if it does have in-app purchases, it needs to do something. I think I have to input the 3 digits on the credit card in order to download the thing. So, I mean, Apple themselves have taken steps so that
you just can't randomly
buy. Yeah. Now, once you get in the game, I don't know because I don't do in-app purchases. Yeah. So once you get in the game, how easy is it to buy from there? I have no idea.
Yeah.
And that goes for any sort of thing like that. I really don't know what it takes to make those purchases.
What are all those stories you hear about the kids like taking their parents' credit card or something like that, or they have access to it, or the parents, or the parents like carelessly set it to auto pay or something like that, and their kids can like rack up a lot of charges and whatnot, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading some of the comments here. Delinquent says, Warface, not Warframe, but Warface is a prime example how to gut a game with a freemium template. You have to pay real money to use anything other than a starter gun because the maintenance fee with in-game money shoots sky high. Yeah, no, that's exactly the future I was looking at.
Yeah. I know, like, one of the things that I don't like about Wildlands, not to harp on that one again, is that they have gear and It's not just cosmetics. It's not just, the tattoos or the shirts or the whatever. They actually have weapons under, you pay money and you can get this weapon that and there's a lot of weapons in there that I don't have because I'm not going to pay the money. I mean, you could. Yeah. There's plenty in the world that you could collect, and you do get if you do certain community challenge and stuff, you do get the little loot boxes that you don't have to pay money for, or you can if you want. But I mean, they have weapons in there that are pretty good. That I'm not going to pay money for that.
The ESA issued a statement after this bill was announced, saying numerous countries, including Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, determined that loot boxes do not constitute gambling. There's other countries that did. We look forward to sharing with the Senator the tools and information the industry already provides that keeps the control of in-game spending in parents' hands. Parents already have the ability to limit or prohibit in-game purchases with easy-to-use parental controls. All right, ESA, you're defending this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's bad that you're defending this. It is bad. It is bad that you might be defending the whole situation with Candy Crush and how it might. There's some prime examples of things that try to get kids to buy stuff. There is, and those should be looked at immediately and taken action.
Well, I mean,
quickly.
Those games, they are designed to elicit reactions in your brain. That trigger the addiction responses and the bright and the flashy and and then you're like, I need to spend money.
Yeah. I kind of wish the ESA wouldn't have issued this, but then again, I don't really care about the ESA. They're not doing too well with E3. They're the ones that put on E3, and a lot of people are backing out of E3.
Yep.
And they keep doing that. So.
Keep backing out.
Yeah, a lot of people just keep saying whatever. Well, remember, press conferences are not part of E3.
Yeah,
press conferences are not part of E3. So don't think that if they have a press conference, they're at E3. They're not. EA backed out, and I think Sony backed out this year.
Disney. There's a whole.
Did Sony back out of E3, or did they just back out of doing the press conference?
I thought they backed out of E3.
I don't know. They may have just backed out of doing the press I don't know. I can't remember.
Didn't we say really that it was just not worth their time and effort?
Yeah,
really?
But that's the press conference. It's different from E3.
I mean, at all. Just don't have anything to do with E3 at all. Just host your own thing.
No, we've talked about that plenty of times, but I can't remember if Sony actually backed out of E3. In other words, they're not going to be on the show floor, or if they just said we're not doing a press conference. I know they said we're not doing a press conference.
Okay.
Because they're not. But did they also say they were backing out of E3 altogether? I can't remember. If somebody could try and look that up for me while I look into this. The whole thing I was saying was that the ESA saying this kind of, it makes me want to look at the countries who did say that loot boxes were gambling. Because I want to say there were a few that did say that this is a form of gambling. And they banned it. And it's the same reason that EA, Star Wars Battlefront 2, backed out of what they were doing because it was getting such horrible press. And there was
why the new Jedi Fallen Order
why they emphasized it so much?
They emphasized it straight up in the press release saying, "Hey, guess what? It will not be this."
I think I found some for you, Scott, but the PlayStation execs reveal why Sony pulled out of E3 2019 event.
Okay, then they're out of the whole thing.
Yeah, there's a big line here in bold that says E3 no longer serves the purpose.
That's the whole situation.
The company said at the time that it was skipping E3 because it was exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019.
Sure.
Yeah. New ways.
Oh, I missed this paragraph here. Last fall, the FTC promised to investigate loot boxes following a letter from another senator in New Hampshire that wrote in the wake of 2017 string of games featuring the heavy usage of predatory microtransactions, the examples given Middle-earth Shadow of War and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Although some companies have pulled back on the practice, popular games like FIFA, Overwatch, and Apex Legends continue to make big money off randomized microtransactions. However, I will say that the ones in Apex Legends, that is completely cosmetic.
How much does, but even if it's completely cosmetic, how much does Fortnite make?
I have no idea. They make a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I sit in a thing where it's like, if it's cosmetic, I don't care.
Yeah. It's not that I don't.
You're
want
not
companies,
advancing yourself in a win situation, so I don't care that you're spending your money how you want to.
It's not that I don't want companies to make money, because if they make money, then they'll continue, hopefully, to make games.
Mm-hmm. Good games.
Oh, that's debatable, I guess. But hopefully, yes. But
of course, the price of making a game now is skyrocketed from back what it was before DLC and microtransactions were offered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, just I guess with newer technologies, it's just newer costs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of E3,
we've
got some time here. We can go over the schedule. I'm sure Overwatch. Yeah, Random says isn't Overwatch cosmetic. I'm sure it is. I don't know. I don't play it, so I can't say for sure. I know I played Apex Legends for a little while, and that was completely cosmetic. Different skins for your character, different skins for guns.
And everything.
It's whatever. It's a lot of what is offered to you in the Destiny stuff. Mm-hmm. All of that stuff is cosmetic. It's to make your gun look different. It's a ship that looks different.
Shaders,
it has nothing that is going to make you more powerful than anybody else playing the game.
So it still breaks down to skill and map knowledge and things like that.
Well, it still comes down to you not paying to win.
Yeah.
Essentially. Although oddly enough, apparently there are plenty of people who are willing to pay other people to carry them through this new mission that popped up, so they can get their gun.
Yeah.
Although that's been around forever. There used to be you could pay to get carried through Trials of the Nine, I think, to get a 7-win streak to go to the Lighthouse thing from D1 or an early D2 as well.
Looking in the chat room about another game they said about NBA 2K. Remember that whole story that came out a while back about people, the DLC about power leveling your character in Nihoot mode? Yeah, that's another one they did. Yeah, that's true. People just pay to jump out to get a head start, and that killed competition. And if you wanted to be competitive, you could either slowly grind or
pay the money.
Pay the money.
Yeah, Gold Farmers, as Fubel says, because I remember this takes me. I'm remembering this because recently I logged into City of Heroes when they got that back up, and I remembered I can't remember what the economy was called. What was the money in the game?
Influence?
Your currency. Was it influence?
I think it was influence.
Yeah,
or something like that.
The in-game currency, whatever it was. I remember you could go on eBay or some other place and buy. Because you could share currency between each other, between players.
Okay. Yeah.
So you could go on and you could buy ever how much influence, and you would then meet up in game somewhere, and they would open up the trade screen, and then they just keep trading. I remember that. Oh man.
Yeah.
E3, the E3 schedule, at least for the press conferences. Here's what we've got. Microsoft will be Sunday at June 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is 11 a.m. our time?
1 p.m. Pacific?
Yeah. No, they're 2 hours not ahead. They're 2 hours behind.
So it'd be 3.
So it'd be 3 o'clock our time on Sunday. Bethesda is Sunday at 5:30 Pacific, which is 7:30 our time. Monday is Ubisoft at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is, again, 3 o'clock, as it always has been for Ubi. Square Enix is doing one Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 o'clock our time. Nintendo does their usual thing on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 11 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
Right? And, of course, Devolver Digital is doing their little thing.
That's the one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
as always.
At some point in there. So
say the best for last, right?
Yeah. Those are your press conferences. You'll notice obviously that Sony and EA are absent. EA has already said they weren't doing anything, but they've also announced that they are going to show off gameplay of the new Star Wars game during E3. When?
Just whenever down the street. I don't know.
I don't know either.
When they're ready.
Yeah.
So, there's your schedule. We're going to take our final break for the show. And oh, wait. Who do we have?
Chris.
It's Chris. Let's go to Chris. Let's not let him wait. We've got 5 more minutes, so let's talk to Chris. Hey, Chris.
What's going on?
Hey.
Not a lot, about to take a break. What's going on with you, man?
Y'all were talking about the microtransactions and stuff, and, kids getting a hold of it. My immediate supervisor, or one of her, or I think both of her sons actually did that in the past and spent money on Fortnite on PlayStation. So
how much did they rack up?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I remember her bringing up the thing and talking about it and everything and getting on to them and basically banned them from the game. Took it away from them completely, and they were crying over it and everything. I mean, to me, I don't really care, but when something gets into them that much where, they get in trouble and do something like that, and then they start crying and because, they took it away from them, then that's really getting bad on, somebody's psyche and stuff.
I wonder if it was like in the triple digits.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was a good bit of amount or something, but I think she eventually got it resolved and then talked to the credit card company or something, but, she found out about it during work.
Yeah, I mean, for your PlayStation account, your card is you could choose to put your card tied to your account, and it's just if you have no password set up or anything, you can just automatically go through. So so if she set her card up to be automatically approve any transaction that goes through there, and I can see them racking it up in no time.
Yeah.
That's a little. I gotta admit, that's a little careless to have it set up that way.
I don't know if that was the case or how it was done. I'm assuming that as well, but like you say, I don't link credit cards to anything. I pay cash somewhere else and then get a debit card or something and then transfer it like the prepaid card.
Mm-hmm. Goodness, Chris, you know how long it took for that bill to rack up like that?
I don't know, but it was recently. They did.
I would imagine it would take at least a month because then she would have gotten the bill at the end of the month or a statement
in one billing cycle.
Yeah, because you would have noticed something, right?
That must have been really noticeable in that case. Then,
yeah. I don't remember all the details, but I remember the after effects of when she found out about it.
She hit the roof.
Yeah, that was the least to say.
Probably went through it.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to her about it and everything, and said, you got to stop them from playing the game whatsoever, and that's one of the worst ones right now. And there's other scams out there I read about, where they treat the kids and everything, and and not get anything. But it's all around bad. Things like that, and then the scams that can be associated with the games like that take off like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see them, doing something about that. But as long I don't know, but who knows? This crazy world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris. Well, we appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, y'all have a good afternoon.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Let's go to our break. When we come back, we've got more of in-game chat. Here is music from a game that is on the new release list for Steam, anyway. I'm kind of interested in it. It's a game called Heaven's Vault.
I think that showed up in my
I think you put it on the notes. It's like the get it on the alpha or beta or whatever, something coming out.
It's a point and click. It seems to be a point and click. I could be wrong actually, but
some demo or something coming out recently for it, isn't it? Yeah.
It's called Heaven's Vault. This track is called Before the Fall. We'll be back with more in-game chat right after this. And welcome back to In-Game Chat music here from a game called Swag and Sorcery. It is a Tiny Build title. I don't know the developers on it, but Tiny Build publishes, and so yeah. Swag. This track is called Swag Castle. Swag Castle.
Hey, if you're gonna have a castle, might as well have a swag castle.
Apparently, yeah. So, anyway, welcome back to the show. Yeah, we got good ways to go here. Let's see what else was on. Let's talk about Ghost Recon.
Yay!
I say, what are we going to talk about?
That there's gonna be one. I know it's not Splinter Cell.
It doesn't even have Splinter Cell. They put Splinter Cell in Wildlands as a DLC, and they still haven't given me a new Splinter Cell.
I know.
Maybe they put this out now so they could get it out of the way and talk about it in full at E3, and then do a nice little, we have one more thing, and just give me the signal of the night things going, whatever those things are.
The night vision goggles?
The night visions. Yeah, just give me that and the 3 dots and be like, 20...
By the way?
20, something like that. I don't know. Just do that. Give me more Splinter Cell. Why can't you do that? No,
could you imagine like an open world Splinter Cell game?
See, here's
would
the
you
problem.
Would you want that, or would you want more story-driven, linear, or whatever?
No, just one more Splinter Cell,
just
really.
More Splinter Cell?
What I really want is Splinter Cell co-op, because that was really fun to play with James.
A lot of fun. I would love a Splinter Cell more than just... Was it just 2-player co-op?
There's 2-player co-op, and then there's 4-player versus...
Adversarial.
Yeah.
I would love a 4-player co-op.
That's Ghost Recon.
Oh, okay. Yay. Hey, I got that. I'm happy.
That's what you get with Ghost Recon. No, I really want Splinter Cell, but I know what they're going to do. They're going to give me another Far Cry. They're going to talk about another Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And they're gonna roll out the regulars and probably Watch Dogs.
Sam's going to linger in the dustbin.
Did Splinter Cell sell well?
I thought it did.
Compared to the other titles you mentioned, though.
All right, but I mean, compared to before Wildlands came out, Ghost Recon was an okay seller. Future War was like all right. Before that, it was Advanced.
Ghost Recon wasn't actually doing too well when before they made Wildlands.
And Wildlands changed everything around.
Yeah, it did. Oh yeah, Fooble says Skull and Bones. Yeah, they've still got that as well.
True. Maybe we'll get Sam Fisher and his DLC in that.
Random says I've never played Splinter Cell. What am I missing?
Fun.
In some of the games, you're missing some really good stealth combat.
Really? Yeah.
In some of the games,
half of it's really good stealth combat.
Yeah, there were some downers, but
I like
Blacklist. I enjoyed a lot.
Blacklist, I enjoyed Conviction.
Conviction was fine. It was the one before that. Was it Most Wanted? Or Wanted?
No, with the two one, the dual whatever. Where you were a traitor and you weren't a traitor, you were,
Double Agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was it was interesting. But Conviction I enjoyed, and I really liked Blacklist. That was a good one.
Yeah, I mean Blacklist. I'm not even going to tell you about the story in Blacklist. It was real fun playing some co-op in that game. It was very, very fun to play co-op in that. In the co-op missions that they provided.
Is that co-op stealth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How would that work? Just everybody? Like how many on your team? Most 4?
No, for the co-op, 2.
Co-op stealth.
Yeah, just 2. And they had specific missions that you could co-op.
Okay.
There were only a certain group. And
I imagine everybody being stealthy, 4 people in the stealth mission.
They also had in Blacklist they also had a wave thing. So there was one where you couldn't be stealthy because they were sending waves of enemies at you. Okay. But you had a certain amount of time to set traps. You knew entryways and that sort of thing, so you could set out traps and things like that. And you just wanted to cover yourself for the amount of time that you needed to
until the next wave,
where you could set traps again and then do whatever. And there was a certain time where you could either end the round and take what you'd earned and move on,
or try and risk it,
or you could risk it and go further another 5 rounds before you could collect. And if you didn't make it in that 5 rounds, you lost everything.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of
risk
fun.
Reward,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Double or nothing.
I didn't like Conviction when they took you from being stealth to
just blow everything away.
Yeah, like, okay, we're not doing stealth on this one. You got to go in guns blazing. I'm like, that is not what Splinter Cell is. Don't give me a mission like this.
Yeah.
That's not what Splinter Cell ever is.
I agree.
I understand that it can turn into that, and I'm okay if it does.
If everything goes sideways, then you're like, oh, no.
Then
but
you can do what you've got to do, but let me come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Let me screw up enough that I have to
then
go
there's
to
a way that you could do it where it doesn't go sideways and you're still stealthing it.
Right, and you get points for that, too.
Yeah.
I say points, whatever. You leveled up, that sort of thing.
And there are some missions in Ghost Recon where it's do not detect. You know, you have to do stuff without being detected at all. And, like, you know, like Kevin and I was doing that the other night where we're trying to basically steal a helicopter from a Unidad base. And it's like no detection. And so you have to be very slow, methodical, quiet. If you do have to take out someone, you have to make sure no one else hears it or sees the body, or else you have to restart it. And
sounds like a enhanced version of Metal Gear. Spotlight soldiers, don't let the body be seen, things like that. So so something like that.
Yeah, but after a couple of tries, all right, that didn't work. Let's try this, or let's wait for these guys to pass. All right, let's hit them now. Then we finally were able to do it, and like, yay! And you're like, once you finally, after several tries, you have that excitement, that rush of like, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Random, if you're ever interested in them, the Splinter Cell series goes on sale, tons of times. So
yeah, they're good games.
They really are. I remember when not Chaos Theory, but when Pandora Tomorrow came out, that was a big deal because we were trying to all get in on it and play that. And this goes back to when you wanted to play, you had to use the GameSpy servers.
Oh yeah,
because that's what was around, GameSpy. But we couldn't. For whatever reason, we couldn't get around the stupid. I can't remember what the name of the client was, but it wasn't GameSpy, but it was their anti-cheat, anti-whatever program that they had put in it.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I remember that stuff.
Yeah, I am play on GameSpy servers old.
Yes.
that's my meme, which nobody would understand.
Yeah.
For the most part, except for everybody, for some people listening to this.
Like how Thar says he loved the sound the night vision goggles made when you first activate them. That wand.
That's the sound that that's the sound I envision them playing whenever they announce the next Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, just you hear that. Wing.
Just the screen going black, the whole theater going black, and then you just hear that,
and then
the three dots.
Yeah,
and then just that's it. That's all. They close it on that. That lets us know something's on the way.
I do have those goggles in Wildlands, from the Sam Fisher mission,
Mm-hmm.
and so whenever I do it, instead of being the normal night vision color, it's that Splinter Cell green, and I hear that that little whine, and I'm like, I like that.
The Ghost
Battle Eye, was it?
Huh?
Wasn't Battle Eye, was it?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I'm looking up trying to look up your server for that GameSpot thing you were talking about.
No, it wasn't a server. It was a
it was
an anti-cheat thing, and I can't remember what it was called.
I remember it, but I don't remember the name just because I'm forgetful.
It wasn't De Novo.
No.
I don't know what it was called though, but
Punkbuster
sounds a lot like it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Punkbuster sounds very, very familiar to me. It's likely might have been what it was. What did we have? Oh, so the Ghost Recon game that they announced is kind of an expansion on Wildlands.
Yeah, whereas Wildlands was in an actual country, Bolivia, that really exists. This is going to be in a fake archipelago up in the Pacific. So,
is it player versus player? Is it ghost versus ghost? What is this?
Well, it's AI ghosts. So the rogue ghosts that take over the island are headed up by Punisher dude, John Blumenthal.
Barenthal.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it meant that you were going to be playing against other.
They will, from what I hear, eventually they will include a kind of the ghost mode. Well, is that what they call it in the Wildlands? The PvP mode.
Right.
But for now, it's just your AI.
It's also another game that's going to be sold on the Ubisoft store. On PC, you can buy it on the Ubisoft store or the Epic Game Store. It will not be available on Steam.
Yeah,
it's got that exclusivity. Yeah,
but interesting. Where it's going to be a lot of drones. So I don't because the island that you're at is basically inhabit it. Well, it's an island for Skeltech, the in-universe people who make the drones and the technology. So they take it over. So I'm guessing you'll have to go up against a lot of different kind of drones, and the wolves, which are the rogue ghosts. If you play by yourself, you won't have any AI help, so that'll be interesting. It's more about survival, but you can co-op it with 4 people, which is good. I'm curious. I'm not 100% sold yet. From what I hear, it is, if you enjoyed Wildlands, you're going to get a continuation, because it is the character that you play in Wildlands, Nomad. So yeah, I'm very much curious about it. I do like the whole tactical one-shot, one kill, hopefully, depending on where you place it, aspect of the Ghost Recon series. So, yeah, I have a couple of months to wait for it. So,
still talking about Ubisoft, Division 2, they nixed plans to implement higher level weapons and gear. I don't know if you saw about this. I don't even know I don't know what you're doing with. You're not playing Division 2. I don't know why I'm looking at you. Some gear called the 515 gear was originally planned to arrive in the next update, which was titled Update 3. However, the developers have walked that back, acknowledging a widespread community reaction against the gear for what it would mean to the work many put in collecting and upgrading their inventories in the loot shooter. Massive Entertainment developers acknowledged that items at the current maximum gear score of 500 would have been outdated immediately, and all the effort you put into min-maxing and farming your builds would have been wasted. That aligned with the first and most consistent complaint of the anti-515 crowd, and it's not just about ranking up gear to the highest overall number. The Division 2 encourages players to build a gear set that suits their playstyle, and 515 gear would have faced some with abandoning that style to achieve a better overall gear score, or sticking with their hard-won, trusty firearms. All this right at the game's first, as the game's first raid arrived as well. The developers acknowledge that they themselves have encouraged loot gear development as more than just hitting a specific number. We don't want the focus to be on constantly chasing a higher gear score, when it should be about finding a playstyle and build that you enjoy. A third component of the fans' anxiety over this gear is the fact that it would drop in the game's dark zones. Developers hinted it might be available elsewhere with no specific promises made. Players were upset about the risk it would take to successfully find, protect, and extract the top-level gear. Massive and Red Storm made it a priority to make the rough-and-tumble PvPvE playground less intimidating, more worthwhile than its predecessor. But in the dark zones, friends can turn on each other at a moment's notice, and loot is in peril right up to the instant a chopper hoists it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So expect backstabbing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how many times have you been there, like you put your gear on the tether for the helicopter just to get killed and someone else grab it?
Title Update 3 will adjust... Excuse me. Title Update 3 will adjust difficulty and gameplay affecting player survivability, mission and control point difficulty, and time to kill. Specifically, they said they want to make the Dark Zone more fun and rewarding, which is an ongoing goal that carried over from the Hard as Nails rep it earned in the first division back in 2016. It'll also bring in something called Dark Hours. The 8-player raid that had been scheduled for April 25th was delayed at the last minute. Dark Hours will reward players with exclusive loot, an exotic weapon, and new gear sets. So, yeah. And that update is coming next week.
All right.
And then finally, we had a PlayStation State of Play, basically their version of a Nintendo
Direct.
Direct, yeah, exactly. Looks like it was while the first State of Play focused largely on VR, this one mixed things up a bit across its brief 12-minute runtime. The three highlights were the Monster Hunter World Iceborne trailer, which is an expansion.
Yeah.
The Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Not yet.
Okay.
I need to. I'll most likely get that game when it comes out.
It's going to be episodic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
when it comes out is a good question to ask.
Yeah.
My first and would be, is it a JRPG style?
It's exactly like what Final Fantasy VII was.
Yeah.
Pass.
I know it's not your jams. It's one of my.
I hate that, but hey,
I know.
I just can't do that style of play.
I got you.
They also had the Medieval trailer.
Okay.
Because they're remastering that or something like that. So
Medieval, is that the one you play as a skeleton?
Yeah.
Okay, that one. Okay.
From way back, yeah. Let's see. Beyond these titles, 3 new games and a new PS4 model were shown off. The first title, Predator Hunting Grounds,
a new Predator
was
game.
very vague. They had a trailer for it, and it looks like it's more. The name and the way the trailer's framed has us thinking that you'll be playing as the Predator rather than fighting against it. Yeah, I don't know. It looked like it could go either way. It looked like it could be someone plays as the Predator while the other group plays as the.
Well, it's like Evolve.
The Marines, yeah.
You play as the monster, you play as the hunter.
Yeah,
you play as the
it
monster,
really has. Now, and it's also made by the same people who helped with the Friday the 13th game.
Oh, it definitely fits in that.
Which really seems to fall into that.
That's exactly the same format.
Yeah.
You play as Jason, we play as the campers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The asymmetrical survival.
Yeah.
That's the way it seems to come off. And I know they had put that Predator mission inside the Ghost Recon Wildlands.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You had a hard time with that. At least the clips that Kevin was showing off.
We did, but also, like I said, we were playing it the hardest possible way to play it.
Yeah. They showed off a game called River Bond. It's a voxel graphics 4-player hack and slash game. The trailer focused on the 8 crossover skins that the game will feature, including Shovel Knight, Juan from Guacamelee, the Kid from Bastion, and Raz from Psychonauts.
Oh, Raz.
It looks like it'll feature destructible environments. And the last new game that was announced was called Away, the survival series.
Okay.
Sort of looks like a documentary in game form. You play as a sugar glider that needs to avoid predators and environmental hazards on its journey. They also announced the Days of Play PS4 system due in June. It has a 1 terabyte hard disk drive, and I don't know what else. I have the trailer here for it. I'm curious what the system looks like. Do you have anything? Does it just... Okay. Doesn't really look like anything. It has the Sony, the PlayStation 4 logo of the circle, triangle, square, X on the top of the console. Didn't seem like it was anything. But that's it. That's all we got.
I heard that the PlayStation 5 hard drive, the SSD, solid state, might be so fast that load screens might be a thing of the past.
No, that's what we talked about. That were you here when we talked about that? It wasn't last week we talked about it.
I don't remember,
because we talked about Mark Cerny talking about how long it took.
Like he in Georgia during that time,
huh?
I think you were in Georgia.
You may have been, because he talked about they did an example of Spider-Man.
Okay.
When he gets in the subway to go from one part of the map to the other.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's cute.
And apparently when they did it this time, he gets in the subway and then like the camera just couldn't keep up with it and like zoomed all the way across the map to where you're supposed to appear and like popped you right in.
Huh.
Like it showed the subway, you being on the subway, but the camera moved out ahead of it straight across the map and plopped you there immediately. I think it kind of broke it, is basically what I'm saying, because it was so fast.
Yeah.
So,
interesting problem to have, I guess.
Yeah.
That would be. So anyway, that's about it that I've got. Platinum Games announced, well, they didn't really announce anything.
Okay.
They just said that their next game is something that has never been done before.
Well, that's cryptic and not very explanatory.
Bold statement.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's mirroring everybody else lately. So you say you're going to do something that no one's ever done before. That's a bold statement.
Let's see.
It's a game done all in Braille.
Yeah, do that. Let's see what happens.
Hey, it's never been done before.
That's right.
They said, right now we're in the middle of designing something that has never been done before. I know a lot of people say that, but the game we're working on truly is unlike anything else. Even for our varied history of veteran game developers, this is something that has never been designed before. So from a game design perspective, we're very excited right now. So that's it.
Yeah, well, they pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess depends on what never been done before is.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for thinking outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. I think we got into every single piece of news
that
that I had up here. That's fantastic to get through all of that. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Where's Bayonetta 3? We'll probably hear about it in a Nintendo Direct for E3.
And
that's about the only time we'll hear about that, and probably Metroid Prime, which they had to go back to the drawing board for. So that's going to be a while before we see that pop up.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to play this week?
I'm still got night classes. This is my last week of it, so not too terribly much. I would like to do some more Wildlands. Like I said, if you guys are interested.
We're currently doing this Destiny thing right now.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's the other thing that I'm trying to do. We're almost to clan level 5.
Okay.
And the next season starts in like June 4th, I think, is when the next season of Destiny starts.
Mm-hmm.
Once we hit 5, we've got to go through 5 to get to 6.
That's usually how numbers go.
I know, and it's going to be tough to do. So I'm going to have to be hitting my clan bounties and doing my clan stuff every single, because I really like us to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten to 6 all the way through the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for us to get there for this one, but it looks like that might be tough. But I'm going to try. But so we've got this quest that we're going to do, but outside of that, Random's probably on the same thinking that I am. Is like, I just want to do that. I don't really want to play much more of Destiny. I just want to get the new gun and get the catalyst up and get the ship. Do all I have to do with that. Other than that, I don't need to do anything else. So
I'm going to try and do some more Assassin's Creeding. I've been wanting to go back into that. I'm still nowhere near finished in that game because they just keep on doing more and doing more. I haven't even explored all the lands yet. There's still parts of the map that I haven't even explored. So that's if I get some spare time and if I can't get up with Kevin, then I'll do that. If Kevin's available, then I'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Well, since I finished everything I can with Johnny Cage and MK11, I'll probably be putting MK11 down for a little bit. I can probably get back into Sekiro because I haven't finished playing yet, and Amazon shipped out the Strat guy from Future Press lately, and it's a nice guy. This Future Press. I expect all their hardcover books to be nice, so I can skim through that and see what I've missed, because I've missed a lot in this game already. Because looking at playthroughs here and there, I see how long their lifeline is, and the lifeline you can only extend it by getting these prayer beads by battling certain characters in the game. And where I'm at and where they were, and comparing lifelines, I know I've missed too many. I've missed way too much. So I could probably get back into that this week, because I think I've finished the most of what I want to do with MK11 so far. So I can take a break from that.
What about you?
For me, it'll be just the stuff with Destiny. But outside of that, I mean, I was watching somebody play. I wasn't watching anybody play. I saw somebody just do a nice flyover of their city that they built, and I kind of want to get back into City Skylines. The problem with any of this, if I
keep seeing that on a PS4, PlayStation 4.
It is on PS4.
All these different versions with all this stuff on there. Yeah.
The thing is, I have it on PC, and that room right now is not comfortable to play in for a long period of time.
City building does take a while.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
which is why really Destiny is good for like getting through what I got to get through, and then getting into the bedroom, because it's too ridiculously uncomfortable in that room to play. So. Anyway, we got to run, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday. Thanks. By the way, Mother's Day tomorrow. Hope you're all taken care of in that regard. Thanks for everybody joining us in the chat room, as well as everybody listening on the stream and on the radio as well. If your mother listening to us, happy Mother's Day. Yep. Thanks to everybody who grabs us each week from iTunes or however you get our show for later use. We appreciate it. Go to ingamechat.net. Join us on Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're watching us on Twitch. Subscribe to our Twitch channel. And join up our groups. Find us on Discord. And that's about it. I leave you with a song, a track from a soundtrack that we've played before. But for whatever reason, I was looking for music yesterday, and I started watching just video game videos. Not worried about music. I was just watching gameplay, and I came across this fun little racing game that I had forgotten about that I really loved, and we played the track before, but it's a game called Split Second, and it's from Black Rock Studios. They were owned by Disney. They went under.
Yeah.
After
that game.
They did Pure and they did Split Second.
Yeah,
that was
Split Second was basically like it was really competitive street racing with super meters in there, and you could use them to like cause these wrecks and chaos on the map. So if someone's ahead of you, drop a crate of girders on them and blow them up. Yeah, real fun to play.
So that's what we leave you with. Have a great week. We'll see you next Saturday.